Billiken fans, welcome back. It is Zach Miller and Peter Hale, and it's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you all so much for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Billiken fans, the Super Bowl's over. Super Bowl party, 2 men in a garden salsa with a bag of chips. It was a hit. It's always a hit. You really cannot beat 2 men in a garden when you're looking to pick up a jar of salsa at the grocery store. Make sure it's on your list every week. If you forget why you're at the grocery store or you're simply an out-of-town Billiken fan, you can use the QR code at the bottom of the screen or the link in the description to head over to the website, enter the code MMP, and get all that salsa shipped free. They are the Salsa and Pickle Company, St. Louis Salsa and Pickle Company, bringing you everything from mild to screaming hot, hot mango to sugar-free. They've got pickles from classic dill to smoky barbecue. Visit them online at twomeninthegarden.com. Shop those favorite flavors and learn more about Kitchen Hub STL. Follow them on social at Two Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter. For their latest updates, Pete, let's give the listeners a little taste of what we're going to talk about this week. We're going to go through this past week in Billiken basketball, but we're also going to talk with Dave Hanley at Talking Blers podcast, and that'll come up once we go around the A10 presented by 2 Men in a Garden.
Yeah, Zach, it's, from the men's basketball side, I'd say it was a good week. They kept it going with 2 more wins.
On the bad side of things, that would be on the women's side of the basketball coin. They continued their skid. They dropped 2 in a row to 2 of the top teams in the A10. And then a little bit of weird, Pete. It seemed like there was a block of seats reserved and unused at the LaSalle game. And also the attendance figures. I'm not understanding where we're missing, 8,000 people.
800, yeah.
Or 800, I'm sorry. 800 people.
8,000 would be a bit of a problem. But
well, yeah. that's the stadium equivalent of Manifest.
That's right.
The Netflix show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll get into that, Zach, but it is weird to hear that it's sold out and then you see some blocks of seats open. So I don't know what's going on there.
The Billikens, of course, began this past week, ranked number 19 in the AP poll. And just this morning or afternoon, I don't know, they moved up to 18th. That is the highest ranking since 2014, Pete. What a world to live in. We've got people like Liam Blutman at Barstool Sports. Now, I think there's some sort of Barstool connection with shirts along the way, or Robbie, whatever. But like Liam Blutman just randomly putting SLU in his Final Four picks. It's weird. It's very bizarre to just casually be thrown out as a serious Final Four contender.
We'll take it. We will absolutely take any positive national attention of any kind. I love it. In the coaches poll, we were number 20 last week, number 19 this week. So SLU jumped 2 spots in each poll last week and then jumped 1 more this week as we got leapfrogged by St. John's, even though we passed up Vanderbilt and BYU.
That's all I care about right there.
Yeah,
I want to pass up a school that is spending a preposterous amount of money on basketball and has one of the biggest stars in. I mean, BYU is a real player in the Big 12, and it's beautiful to see us ahead of them.
Yeah, and you're not kidding about their budget either, so it's really cool. And by the way, St. John's, as we record, is on the ropes in overtime against Xavier. So that was a close game at Xavier. It went down to the final minute. I was at that game, the only Xavier game I've gone to this season. And St. John's, who just went over us. I mean, if Xavier's able to pull this out, that would help our chances. What
channel is that on?
That would be Fox Sports 1. That's what it's on. Yeah.
So let's talk about this 91-82 win at Davidson Tuesday the 3rd. Pete, you look at going into this game, and it's the first time Davidson's hosted a ranked opponent since 2018. And they're pulling out all the marketing stops to get the students out. And Robbie Avila, he's sick. This illness that has gone through the team. Were you feeling it was a letdown? Because on my end, when I hear of Robbie Avila being sick, like I think the next man's got to stand up or step up, and I feel like that's kind of a refocusing moment, and actually would have been a bit of a blessing in disguise.
This illness seems to have worked its way through the team over the last month and a half. It feels like it's call it 1.5 players sick every time. And yeah, Zach, so you get a little bit nervous. And I don't know if it's a SLU fan thing or if it's an every fan thing, but this game in particular felt like one where a letdown was really possible, right? It's an arena that took us a long time to win in after Davidson joined the A10. We hadn't played well on Tuesdays lately, so this was kind of our third straight one of those. And
Felt like we were tempting fate a little bit too
That's
much.
right. The previous two hadn't gone well. Davidson was coming off a commanding win over Richmond at Richmond. You feel like they've kind of taken a little bit of a step, not necessarily turned a corner, but taken a little step up, and they're kind of in the mix for that 4 or 5 spot in the league at the time. And yeah, there were just a lot of factors here, Zach, especially Robbie being a little bit under the weather, where you go, this is there's a potential pitfall here, and you just know now we're ranked. We're going to get everybody's best shot. It's just the way it is.
And we did. We did in this one, and that was that led to the Billikens being down 5 at halftime. And it was a lot. There was the defensive end that really kind of failed us in that first half.
Davidson really had a clear plan here, right? Matt McKillop is a guy who you and I haven't been necessarily the biggest fans of since he took over for his dad. Not the most impressive guy that in my book so far. He's taken quite a bit of time just to get the program back to where it normally operates at a base level, right? Which is a competitive top half A10 team that plays a really distinctive style of basketball, that keeps them competitive against just about anybody. And they came out with a plan of attack. It was really clear what they were trying to do. They really did a good job of moving the ball around. And they're a team, they don't score a lot at the rim. They're generally not a good free throw shooting team, although they were in this game, especially in the first half. But it was all about getting open looks on the perimeter for them, and to their credit, they did it. And it was just a pretty simple motion and dribble penetration, and SLU was helping on the penetration every time. And then you look around the perimeter, 1, 2, 3, 4, and only 2 or 3 of those guys are guarded, and they were finding open men constantly. And so just boom, 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 they're hitting all these threes on us. SLU was just leaving those guys open, and then you've got some dumb fouls, which were always good for some of those. You got some dumb turnovers, and then you get some self officiating on top of it, and it's just this big stew that leads to one of these bad first halves that we've kind of become known for lately.
Yeah, dude, it's. Like the officiating, it just feels like we are going to get a weird whistle physicality wise. It feels like the more physicality is being allowed, or I guess teams are just going to throw as physical a defense as humanly possible and hope that they get the favorable side of the whistle.
I think that's happening. There's also what I'm seeing, and it's funny because a couple. Maybe it was a week or so ago, Petey Buckets, the guy from George Mason, was tweeting about, who we really like. He was tweeting about how Davidson really initiates contact offensively. They really know how to use their arms, their elbows, their shoulders to kind of get away with a little bit of contact because, let's face it, Davidson is not known as a physical team. They're just not. They're always kind of that soft, prep school team. And They managed to do that in this game too. I thought they've been able to find this brand of physicality that they can get away with, whereas SLU gets really called for a lot of the reaches, right? A lot of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff where you're guarding the ball. I think of Dion Brown guarding the inbound 78 feet from the basket, getting called for a reach or a hack or something like that. We get called for a lot of crap like that, and we don't necessarily set a physical tone the way that other teams have this season. And that's been interesting to see that juxtaposition, what you can get away with when it's more of a style, as opposed to what you can't get away with when it's more of just aggressive defense leading to some carelessness, right?
It's been interesting too. I don't think this team has been called for a single holding foul like the
This
entire season.
mm,
Like, how many times have you seen, teams get called for holding against our guys, or even last season with Shimerson? Like,
sure,
I
or
don't think we've
just
gotten
get away
called.
with it.
Yeah, I just don't think. Maybe we're getting away with it. I think there's some dark arts that this team's working with as far as like um, I don't know, not underhanded or illegal, just kind of like the way they defend it. They looks like they should be fouling, but they aren't.
Mm.
And I think I've said that before. It's just
I,
very strange.
Yeah, I mean, there's a foul disparity issue that I know Schertz has been trying to address, but at the same time, he does acknowledge that we're good for some stupid fouls every game.
Sure.
Give one or two of those to Dion, one or two of those to Amari. There's just always some fouls that you see right away that we shouldn't be doing. Quentin Jones is good for one or two of those a game. So I think we do have a little bit of a problem with that, but maybe that just comes with the territory and what we're trying to do defensively. Guys get a little overzealous sometimes.
Davidson led by as much as 13. SLU was, they go into the half with a swing. And it continued in the second half. They took the lead on a 16-0 run. They never gave it back. Pete, what changed here in the second half from the Billikens?
Yeah, I mean, it was really both ends, right? Like the defensive, the defense was short up. They weren't biting on all of those dribble penetration drives. They were trusting their teammates better. They were therefore guarding the perimeter better, and then offensively they were just moving the ball better. Like this offense can stagnate. I know Schertz allows for a lot of improvisation, and that's what it's designed to do. But there are times where it seems like guys just kind of forget to cut. They kind of forget to move the ball around. They kind of forget to, Majerus was really big about sides. Get the ball to the second side, get it to the third side. By the time it gets to the third side, somebody's going to be open. And when we don't do things like that, when we kind of I know they like to score fast, but sometimes you just don't have it in rhythm, right? And it really does require a little bit more movement. This half, they were a lot more patient. They were a lot smarter, and the offense came a lot more smoothly. And then you had a few very big nails in the coffin provided by Brady Dunlap. I mean, Brady Dunlap was just he was the backbreaker. Like that's the guy Davidson fans are going to leave the arena shaking their heads about, feeling like he's the one who did them
In 20 years, people are going to be talking about him like I'm talking about Tyler Ralphs for Bonaventure.
Yeah. We always, and we've run into how many guys like this in the A10 over the years,
It's
and
insane. Too many.
he was that guy for us in this game, Zach. After missing one game and then being limited to 8 minutes in another due to illness, he came back to hit all 6 of his 3-point attempts for a career high 22 points in 22 minutes. He was fantastic.
I texted that picture probably to you and said Billikens by 40 or something like that. But like the picture of Brady Dunlap walking into the arena,
Sure.
wearing a gigantic fuzzy hat and a black fuzzy hat and a brown coat, puffer coat, looking like the Michelin Man. There really was no other option than going 6 of 6 from 3-point range to lead your team to victory.
Yeah, it was an interesting sartorial statement, in the tunnel, getting off the team bus. I was in North Carolina 1 week earlier, and I know it's record cold for them, but it's not that cold. But hey, I know he's coming off of illness, and whatever he's got to do to feel good, I'm fine with.
It has nothing the fashion. I mean, I'm just saying, it's more fashionable than pajama pants.
Oh, here we go. Hey, I want no part of that conversation. That was not my tweet.
Wait, speaking of which, Robbie Avila was a game time decision.
Yeah.
We talked about the illness, the same one that's ripped through this team. He was available and started. Were you surprised?
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it seemed like every one of the guys who got this thing got one game off and then came back, and I thought that's what was going to happen. But he was there. You saw it maybe in his legs a little bit. So he scored 17, right, despite going 1 of 8 from outside. Yeah, right. So he was 5 of 6 from inside, 6 of 9 from the line, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, just 1 turnover. But the 1 from 8 from outside, and he was short on I want to say 6 out of 7 of those, which normally is an indication of fatigue. So I do think it got hit to him a little bit there. He still finished plus 10, which was second only behind Brady Dunlap. So his shots were short, but he still did so many other things to impact this game. I thought he was really, really good.
A10 player of the week, Charlotte native and overall video game character, Trey Green. He was playing in front of his family, and his numbers and his effort really shone that.
Yeah, and so he ended up with 13, right, which is pretty much in line with his season average, but not what he had been doing lately, because it was so clear, Zach, that Davidson made him a priority. They were smothering him in the first half, especially. He still managed to get 7 shots off. I think a couple of them he may have rushed a little bit. He hit 3 of them.
He slipped on that first one of the game.
He did. Was this the game where he slipped on that 3?
Was that at home? That was at home.
That was LaSalle. LaSalle.
Never mind.
Yeah. So he did kind of rush it, but I think it was just out of frustration, right? Because of how much they were just,
he was getting the Jimerson treatment.
That's absolutely right. And that's when, somebody like Brady Dunlap comes through, which is like a guy coming off of illness who didn't just score 23 points on back-to-back games, is the guy who ends up going 6 of 6 from 3 and 4 of 5 from the line and going plus 19 and being that spark. Trey Green is the one who maybe gets that Jimerson assignment and has to play more of a secondary role, and he's a guy who's happy to do that.
It's interesting to look at a player like Amari McCautry, because I feel like I know for a fact he takes a lot of hell online. I think he's probably the most criticized player on this team, not named Robbie Avila. But he also, I think it has to do with how often he takes the ball inside, and if Kellen Thames, look, it's actually, he may be a product of his environment, right? He's got 4 guys on the court at one time that are insane 3-point shooters. He's got Kellen Thames, who is a walking bucket. He's efficiency incarnate. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Amari McCautry, who is fantastic. I mean, he goes for 14 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 6 of 7 from the field. He hits his only 3-point attempt. He made an insane finish on 1 reverse layup, then went down to the other end, left his guy wide open by a mile, which led to a 3-pointer. And then he got into some foul trouble. So, he has an insane game, but just by the sheer fact that he is not Trey Green, Brady Dunlap, Ishan Sharma, Robbie Avila, he's the one that takes the heat.
Yep. Consistency, right? It's consistency within a game for him. That's the crazy thing. You look at the stat line and you go, that's a great game. And yet if you were to read like Discord or Twitter or something like that, you'd go, oh man, Amari was messing up in this game. That's just kind of what you get with him, right? It's funny when he came in, the coaching staff was like, we see a future first team all A10 player here. And his freshman season, you think like, yeah, he's got some tools, he's raw, but like, okay, I get what they're saying here. He's got some capabilities. And already his sophomore year, you go, okay, whoa, he's actually pretty close to that already. And it really just it's these little decisions. The blown defensive assignment to leave his guy open on one end, right? Like the extra couple of fouls he gets called for in this game that were things that he shouldn't have done. There's the turnovers, which he's gotten a lot better at this season, but if he gets three or so turnovers in a game, you remember all three of them, and it feels like more than three. And that's what we're still battling with him. I think if his decision making just gets, call it, 15% better, 20% better, that first team all conference, I think is right there.
One more note on the sophomores, the Sharma, Dunlap, Green, McCautry. Which one do you think is the most well-rounded?
Well, okay, so Green, I think we should come with the caveat that
He can't play defense.
he is no, well, he's listed as a junior, and we're assuming that he gets that medical red shirt season from Xavier, which I believe getting. But yeah, just all of that aside, so he is a third year player.
God damn it! Just get to the point.
In terms of well-roundedness, though, that's kind of a tricky question.
Yeah, that's why I asked it, Pete. Come on.
Because I think a lot of these guys don't really get thought of in that way. Like Trey Green gets thought of as a shooter. Kellen Thames gets thought of as a big highlight. I didn't understand what you just said right there.
Kellen Thames not a sophomore.
Oh, sorry. Sharma. Sharma is a guy who gets thought of as a shooter, right? He's a lot better passer than people realize. I actually think his defense needs a lot of work compared to some of the other guys who get knocked for their bad defense, right? I think Sharma's got a longer way to go on that end. So you've got McCautry. It might be McCautry. I don't know, Zach.
No, I was curious. I have no rebuttal. Dion Brown, just another dog performance.
10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 fouls. That's a Dion Brown game right there. It just is.
The Dion Brown triple double or whatever. I don't know. The Dion Brown hat trick, 10, 6, and 3 or something like that.
Yeah, but with the fouls too.
Yes. Quentin Jones fouled out, and this had to have been one of the worst games of the year for him. 4 points, all from the line, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. He has been nails at the line for this team that has struggled from the line. He's been one of the constants. Shirts talked about him after the game.
Yeah, he actually acknowledged, like when he was talking to Earl and Rammer, said he thought Jones was just pretty bad in this game until that final shift. And then in his final shift before fouling out, he was excellent. And he made a lot of winning plays, which Shirts said are plays that contributed to their win down the stretch, which I agree with. He actually finished minus 13 for the game, by far the worst on the team because no one else was negative. So that's just one stat that can be a little misleading sometimes, like like a win or a loss for a baseball pitcher. But while he was out there, it just didn't go as well for him this game. I think it was unquestionably maybe his worst game of the season.
Kellen Thames and Swish Sharma had 5 apiece. These guys were clear priorities for Davidson.
They really were. I mean, Davidson knew what was going to hurt him. They did a good job on the perimeter, with Sharma and Green. And then they didn't give Thames much either. And he's a guy who, we can get into it some more later. Just hasn't had a big exclamation point performance lately after being so good earlier in conference play, right? So
When
just
was his last wow moment? Was that LaSalle? Not LaSalle. Had to be
well,
Dayton. Didn't he have something against Dayton?
I mean, he's had individual games, or sorry, he's had individual plays that have been really good. But the last game where I say he would put like a big one together would be GW. He had
Hmm.
15 and 6. But yeah, Dayton 3 points, Davidson 5, LaSalle 4. He's done some things, but that performance where he played a season high 24 minutes against George Washington was I think the biggest he's had in
It's
the last
almost like
couple of
he's a
years.
safety valve.
Yeah, look, he's gonna have another big game coming up here.
Yeah.
Loyola might be the cure. We'll see.
See, I don't
But
know because I mean, they're terrible against the three. They've got a rim protector. I think that's all. That's basically just we're going to shoot the lights out, and that's
if
the
you
plan.
if you take Ruben out of that lineup, they are the worst defense in the A10 by mile. I just walked into a stat
By
by
kilometers.
many kilometers. Their defensive efficiency is abysmal. They're really, really bad. So yeah, they've got one guy who's a bit of an eraser, but other than that, they're just crap. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. He'll get a couple blocks and that's fine. But speaking of which, Thames even had 2 shots blocked in this game. One of them probably should have been a foul. But it's rare to see him have shots blocked like that. Maybe one, but two's a little bit rare.
Otieno, just solid, man. He's
Yeah.
just that's much, there's not much to say. He Davidson Biggs tried to intimidate or push around, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah, they've got
Dave
that big guy. What's his name? He comes off the bench for them. Logan.
Joseph.
Logan
Oh,
was the one I'm thinking of, number 15. He's the one who had 3 blocks. I think he blocked both of Thames's shots. He's got a really big upper body, and he was really, really physical in this game. He had 4 fouls, and I think we joked that when he had number 4, we were all like, well, there's number 8. They're calling it 4 in this game. But anyway, yeah, so that's who he was up against. So I think it was kind of a tough assignment.
The Billiken defense held Davidson scoring to a small group. Scovins had 17, Fredrickson had 15, Devin Brown had 13. The Billikens did win the rebound battle. It looked shaky in that first half. But I mean, they turned it around in the second.
They did 41-30 for the game once Davidson started missing some shots. Crucially, they won the offensive boards 12-10 and second chance points 18-17. Luckily, Zach, turnovers didn't end up being a huge factor. 10 for the Bills, 7 for the Wildcats, which I think both teams would be pleased with in this game. But SLU's lead peaked at 12, which happened in the final 3 minutes. Davidson never quite let them get comfortable, drawing to within 7. But Zach, I don't think we can let this one go without just acknowledging how bad the refs were in this game. Just a really horrible performance. And again, I always am reassured when people like Matt Rocchio, who look at the game very analytically, right? Who are he takes a really intellectually straightforward approach to a game. And yes, he's a fan and everything, but you and I can be a little bit more emotional. And when I see people like
Yes.
him, real ball knowers going like, oh wow, the refs are really having a night in this one. That's when I feel a little bit better about what I'm seeing, and it's not just being me, right?
Yeah, no, I think again, I think on a level that there are officials that just don't know how to officiate this defense, and
Yeah,
and the offense for that matter. I mean, I don't know. I think our guys they get liberties taken with them,
yeah.
and then we don't receive the same. We're not afforded the same opportunities, I guess, defensively. But sometimes that comes off as whining, and I'll take that. I'll wear that. The Billikens, having never won a game uh, at Belk Arena, have now won 3 in a row. Yeah, the belt curse has is no more. We should never speak of it again.
It's great. Yeah, we're not bad at Belk, all things considered. You know, it's funny. We never won there until 2023, but we had only played 4 games because Davidson was one of those teams that we were only playing
Yeah.
once a season. So you play every other year. Then you've got the couple of years that were all a mess because of COVID, and so you wind up with a gap there. And so we were only 0-4. So now you win 3 straight. We're 3-4. That's kind of about where we are on average in other A10 gyms. That's not bad. So as far as I'm concerned, curse has been lifted.
5 of the last 6 games against Davidson have been won by the Billikens. The all-time series, the Billikens still trail by 2. Giving up 82 points to this team, not the best, Pete, but it's a road conference game. Winning is all that matters
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Winning is all that matters, but great teams also cover Zach. I think the final spread was 8.5. So SLU managed to just slide by that. Those odds makers and the analytical spreads were kind of all right there too. Those guys know what they're doing.
Yeah, I get it's ridiculous how often the odds hit right there within a point. We saw it again on Saturday, didn't we, Pete?
Yeah, Zach, on Saturday the 7th, SLU won 82-58 against LaSalle at home. It was the second consecutive sellout at Chaffetz Arena, which has a capacity of 10,600, but announced attendance was 9,874. That's weird, right? Like
Do you
what's happening there?
do you believe in conspiracies?
Oh, I mean, no, but lay it on me. I like to hear them.
I don't have one for this. I should have spent the extra day researching why like some dark circle of something or other was the reason why SLU's like the shrinking of the arena or something. I don't know. I wish I would have come up with a good conspiracy. I don't have one. I will say I did not love that basically from what I understand, a corporate party bought a luxury box and they needed overflow seats. And
Mm.
so there were some in the corners, there was a whole section blocked off, and more than half of those seats were not filled. And, I get that, you got to make money on group tickets, but like we got to get seats filled too. So you know, I don't hate but it was a bit of I feel like that's bad juju.
I hope it's the kind of thing that as the team, assuming we can kind of keep this all going next season and we actually have a whole season where you've got a lot more local interest. I would like to think that that's a harder thing to do. That's the kind of thing that may have happened way in advance of this game
Interesting.
when somebody didn't think this was going to be the hot ticket that it ultimately became, right? So I would like to think that's the kind of thing. SLU looks at their like the back half of their conference stretch and goes, you know what? We're not just going to let somebody block off a whole section of seats here. Like we actually do want a few more hundred people in this gym. Look, I mean, I guess we got the ticket revenue one way or the other into the
Yeah.
program, which is great. But it's still like to be broadcasting the day of the game, sell out, sell out, sell out, and then people get there and they're like, "That looks pretty open up there. What's going on?" It's not great.
It started out this game did with a quick drive by Jones and a missed shot at the rim, and that really felt like it set the tone for
Yeah.
the entire night.
It was a sloppy start. It was kind of like I didn't like that first shot, right? Like I think it was 1953 on the clock. Like
You
he
like
went
it if
right,
it goes in.
that's right. If that goes in, that's a tone setter too. But when he misses it, and then things are a little nervy after that, it I don't know. I didn't like where this one was going, and LaSalle did everything they could to muck things up in the first half. Zach, it
Yeah.
takes SLU out of their game. They were in and out of that zone, but then not only were they going from a man to a zone and back, the zones would like it would look like a really high 1-3-1,
Oh, it was suffocating.
and
It,
then
it
Yeah.
Sitting on the other end that first half when
Yep.
they brought it out, you could feel um, the Billikens being pressed up against the half court. It
That's right.
was aggressive. It was nasty.
It was, and then so they would throw that look at him for a little bit, then they would back it up a little bit, a lower 1-3-1, and then I saw them in a 2-3 and even a 1-2-2. And as soon as I was sitting on my couch, like, are they now in a 1-2-2 zone? Troy said it right at that second too, and I was like, they're just switching up everything, like just trying to get Slew really frustrated. Getting hands on everything Slew touched, right, was another piece of what they were trying to do defensively here. And as you said, getting hands on everyone in a Billiken uniform too, Zach.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and getting, it was just holding and hacking off the ball.
Yeah,
Everyone felt like they were getting the Jimerson treatment. They were going to make sure Slew would have to try to score at the rim, and we're going to beat the shit out of you all the way there, and when you got there too.
that's right. That's absolutely right. But they were happy to put Slew on the free throw line, especially
Yeah,
McCautry, made him shoot 6 free throws in the first half. I think the approach was, let's just foul on every play because they can't call everything, and that works.
it
The
was.
refs are human beings.
They used the same strategy the Area 51 people, the storming Area 51 people used.
I was like a second away from saying that. So they're making that same comparison. They can't arrest all of us.
Yes,
Like they can't call a foul on all of us. So everybody just beat the crap out of them as much as you can and challenge the refs to call it. I thought it was really good, but they also managed to bait Slew into bad shot attempts. I think a lot of that just comes out of frustration, right? Slew was 40% from the field. They only got 10 3-point attempts in the first half, and they hit 3 of them. And then on the offensive end, I thought LaSalle kind of did what Davidson did, initiating contact while on offense, using their offhand to get shoulders and elbows on defenders, pushing off. It was really, really aggressive stuff on that end.
do you find it unsettling when the Billikens shoot well on the road?
And then pour at home or just
No, just in general. Like I think it's unsettling when they don't shoot well, or when they shoot well on the road. It's just unfamiliar territory. It's so foreign to me
mhm.
that I don't. It's weird to watch, and I'm shocked every time a shot goes in. Like that's why I was so tickled during the Bonaventure game.
That's the first one that comes to mind, right?
Yeah, it was insane. Like I'd never seen anything like it, and you talk about you know, I don't know. I just thought that it's weird sometimes because I just expect us to lay an egg on the road. Um, let's see what else we got in this one.
Well, I was just talking about the contact that they were initiating while they're on offense, right? And
Right.
Shirts did not seem too happy about the pushing off.
No, I mean he was out there complaining to the refs. Like you could see him like do this motion at the ref. They're pushing off. Fans around me were also yelling push off pretty as much as Blues fans yell shoot on the power play.
Sure.
It was just I thought on the drive they were getting near the restricted area and they were pushing off and going up and they were getting the space and it just again it's another instance of the officials and I don't get it. I don't get
Yeah.
how bad these refs are.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But we complained about it at Davidson. I think they may have been worse at Davidson because in this game, I don't know. I just like I guess what I said earlier. They're human beings, right? And if they just called this game straight up, you might have had a situation where LaSalle just had an insane number of fouls compared to Slew, and that's the kind of thing that when it's on paper, then you really leave yourself open to criticism. So you just have to call it in the moment or not call it in the moment. And yeah, I don't know. It's very just frustrating to see. But it was a frustrating game because they also, in addition to everything we've already said, they attacked the offensive glass hard. They wound up with 7 offensive rebounds in the first half
Those
alone.
were
And
weird too. Those were weird because it felt like uh it felt like it felt like Sluice should have gotten to the rebounds but weren't getting to the rebounds.
mm,
I
Yeah,
don't know. It was odd.
they
I didn't
had
like it.
some they had some that were just kind of crazy bounces. And I think one thing that's funny about LaSalle is they're such a bad shooting team. They seem more ready for like serious misses than SLU does, right? Like you box out as if the rebound's going to go in a fairly predictable place, and some of their misses are going unexpected directions, and it just seems like they're more prepared for it. I don't know. Like credit to them, they rebounded hard. And then one other thing they did, and this is the last point I'll make, and how they kind of tried to take SLU out of the game, which worked for quite a bit of the game. They challenged calls. Like Darius Nichols challenged an out of bounds call, and then he got the refs to review for a flagrant foul call on it or non call on a previous possession. He was unsuccessful on both, but again, you had no flow to this game at all in the first half. And when you have two ref reviews in the first half, that's just one of those things it's adding time, taking SLU out of any rhythm whatsoever in their home gym and taking the crowd out of it because like you're given like that's an extra 3 or 4 minutes that the crowd is not into the game at all, right?
Yeah, it was boring. It all added up to a slow scoring or a slow, low scoring and ugly half. Very hard to get into as a fan. So credit to LaSalle.
Yeah.
I thought they looked great defensively. I thought that extended 1-3-1 or was it 1-2-2 zone? Uh
The one
the
1-3-1
yeah,
is the one where they really put the pressure on. So
yes,
yeah.
I thought that was really really nice. And if they could, I'd love to see us sometimes go with a little Kellen Thames head of the zone. DJ Foreman, shout out Gaines for
Yeah.
that joke. I loved DJ Foreman at the top of the zone. It was so fun. Um,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
the second half, it took the Billikens a few possessions to get going, but they jumped out to a 10-4 start to the second half. And that's when we kind of thought, here we go. But I thought LaSalle also was allowed to hang around a little too long.
Yeah, way too long. I mean, with it was 8:46, right? They're still within 6 points, and now you're like, okay, look, I've been for over 3 quarters of this game, guys. I've been assuming we're just going to run away with this at some point, and now here we are. We're getting close to the under 8 media timeout, and they're within 2 possessions. I don't feel good about that at all. And then it always happens, Zach Sharma
The
back
floodgates open.
back to back
Swish.
threes. Yep, Dunlap hits one, and now all of a sudden it's 15. And it just grew from there, right? It has to be, if you're LaSalle, so deflating to give your best effort on your best game plan for 32 minutes, and then you're at the under 8 media timeout, and the game's out of hand. And then SLU went on to outscore, LaSalle by 18 in the final 8:26. They had 10 threes in the second half after just three in the first. The second half performance really salvaged their offensive numbers for the whole game, which ended up being 50.9% from the field, 43.3% from three, 71.4% from the line. All very respectable numbers that you would not have arrived at if those last 8.5 minutes didn't go the way they did.
Uh, let's talk about Swish on Sharma,
Yep.
because he like when this season started and Sharma started getting going from three. The book was you can't let Sharma get his feet square to the rim, and he seems to have subverted that rule quite a bit. He is unbelievable fading away, and like we have three guys that do not shoot it. That kind of strict catch and shoot up and down, and it's kind of crazy, right?
I would even say it seems like Trey Green really prefers to be moving.
Yes.
We have a weird stat this year where we're, I think, leading the nation in shooting threes off the dribble, which is a really funny way of thinking of it because it's not like we have guys out there trying to play hero ball. We just
Yeah.
have guys who receive the pass, then take a dribble, then take the shot. And the Trey Green's a big reason for that. But Sharma, on the other hand, is yeah. I mean, like heading into the season, early in the season, we were looking at him shoot threes and be like, okay, if he's square, it's in. If he's not, it's no good. And then in the past 3 months, we've seen this guy evolve his game to such a degree that he doesn't need to be straight up and down. He can be moving to his right, which I think he's a little bit better than moving to his left. He can be fading away a little bit. There's a lot now. A lot. He still likes to have, like I guess like everybody, right? You still want his shoulders to be square, but his body can be moving in a way that he wasn't really good at before.
Maybe he was good at it. Maybe he was good at it. That was just
maybe we just didn't see it, but we did. I have seen it written that that he and Dunlap and these guys have really worked on not just their shooting, but making shots in more game-like situations where they are moving. Like not just like getting up as many reps as possible, and so it's forcing they're shooting in a lot different ways, right? They're kind of like challenging each other.
I want to talk one more thing about I want to cover one more thing with Sharma, and that was the hilarious play where he pump faked two explorers out of their sneakers and then got tripped trying to go to the hoop when he would have had the most wide open layup in the run of an offensive possession in basketball history. Yeah. Because he sent two players to the rafters. It was
that's right.
One of the I don't know. Every game I watch these players and this team, and I see something crazy, weird, fun.
Yeah, they're a delight that way.
It's delightful.
So he ends up leading SLU, right, with 15 on 5 of 9 3-point shooting. But Zach, like I kind of hinted at before in the previous game, he's shown himself to be a really good passer. Like just one assist, but it was a pretty one. And 0 turnovers. The ball just really moves well with him in the game, and his plus 23, I think, is a pretty good indication of that, right?
Yeah, I think he, I think a lot of the team has said that he and Avila are the two kind of most cerebral players on the court at any given time. So that doesn't surprise me that his vision is that good.
Yeah.
Speaking of players with vision, Amari McCautry finished with 13 alongside Quentin Jones. McCautry ended up 7 of 10 from the line after going 3 of 6 in the first half. Jones led SLU with 6 rebounds and was perfect 3 for 3 from 3. He also had 2 assists and 4 blocks. Excellent overall. But I want to hone in on the block shots because I know SLU covered his shot blocking performance, but holy shit, was he awesome.
He really was. Yeah, he made some really big plays. He was solid at that end overall, Zach.
Yeah, I thought he was my player of the game in this one, to be honest with you. I thought, he really led at a time when SLU was struggling and match that with his defensive effort. And I just think that, that's winning plays. That's what Shirts is looking for.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on him being player of the game too. And then Zach, I think McCautry figured it out from the free throw line in the second half. But how?
I think he goes 4 for 4, and it culminates with him stepping to the line to cover the spread of 23 and a half. And I'm watching him step to the line, and I think Jones comes over, walks by him, kind of gives him a pat. Whatever. I'm just imagining him, with the Ezewiro stuff and all of it within basketball. Like, you better sink these two or you're catching an indictment, Like, can you imagine? Like, that's also one of the downfalls, right? There's no reason for McCautry to need to make those, but there's 30% of the arena has skin in the game on whether McCautry makes those 2 free throws.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. And I hope they play completely unconscious of those factors, like I know, like Shirts had said earlier this year, the unfortunate reality of the metrics, the net system is that you do want to beat teams by as much as possible because it does impact your metrics, your ratings. But then you have that extra layer of oh gosh, am I making a play or not making a play? That's going to get some people screaming at me as I walk out of this arena tonight.
Yeah.
But look, it's good that he got to shoot those free throws with a little bit less pressure than in the first half, and maybe that's what he needs.
We did get Shake Shack as well. Compliments of McCautry,
That's right.
which was delicious. They have like these lemonades. It was like a pomegranate lemonade that was really good.
All right.
Um, yeah, Brown finished with 12-4. Brown and Green were both -2 for the game, so that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's kind of a little statistical anomaly, right? You win by 24 and two of your starters go -2. Green only had 5 points on 2 of 6 shooting. He was 1 of 5 from three. He forced a couple early, and then he slipped on the one, like it was in this game, Zach,
That's
where
right.
that one where he was kind of
The
in the
wedgie.
corner. Yeah, the one. Yeah, that's right.
Do you
There
ever
was.
you ever slip and then get a wedgie?
I mean, that's just the human experience. It
Yeah,
happens to the best of us, but
unfortunately.
it looked like there was a wet spot in the corner, so that was unlucky. But look, he just never got into a groove, and he's clearly a marked man at this point. Teams are adjusting for Trey Green, and coming off back-to-back 23-point games this season, he goes for 13 against Davidson, and then just five, or sorry, yeah, five in this game. So yeah, not quite the week he had last week for sure.
Um, Dunlap was he was plus minus leader, which is I mean, for as little as he got in the game,
It
he just is impactful.
Yeah, it was 23 minutes, which is pretty good for him, right? But to be plus 25 in his
Yeah,
23 minutes after you see that Green and Brown are both -2, it's just a funny stat that way, right? Like he was in there for that big run at the end. I mean, obviously him and Sharma were the ones who hit those first ones to kind of gain that separation, and then he stayed in as they stayed hot. Two of four shooting from outside; those were all 6 of his points. So yeah, like not quite the performance he had at Davidson, but he was in there for the right moments, and his energy is always very welcome. But Thames was the other unexpected plus minus champ, going
he
plus 20 in 17 minutes. He only went for 4 points and 4 rebounds with 2 assists, so not bad, but not a guy you think would be plus 20 either.
no, he had braids in this one, so you knew he was going to be pretty good.
It's
It's it, I he is Samson to me. Like whatever he's doing with his hair, if it's fly, he's gonna play well. You know what I mean? Like I don't
yeah.
know if he's got a fresh cut, he's going off. Avila, what did I just do there? 9 points, 8 assists, and played a team high 30 minutes. Shirt said he put him in earlier than he wanted with about 9 minutes left in the game because he thought we needed him. That
Yeah.
was the right call, Pete. That's when Slew ran away with it.
Yeah, yeah, we just needed what he does, and you had to stretch for those minutes coming off of a week where he wasn't feeling well. But it was absolutely the right call by Shirts there to kind of push him. In the post game, he said 9.5 minutes. I'm not quite there. I think he wanted to be, another minute or two off the clock before getting him back in. But yeah, it was the right thing to do. We just that's all of a sudden when those guys got open and started hitting threes, Zach, and that's not really a coincidence.
Otieno had 5 and 4 with an assist and a steal. He was plus 7 and 11. Uh, honestly, I feel like his minutes were limited considering how much physicality LaSalle brought. But I don't know. He still just shows up and he's a rock. Nothing changes with Otieno. He's not losing you the game. He's not winning you the game, but he's just kind of a steady presence. Um,
Yeah.
talk about the leader for the Explorers. It was the guy wearing 99.
Yeah, and that was none other than the big Rob Dockery, who led them in that physicality we've been talking about and scoring. 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That's a
Mhm.
big triple nickel. Almost a double double. Rockio said he's listed at 6'6", 205, which That makes no sense, Zach, because he looked like he was about 6'8", 240. He played like he was about 6'10", 275. 6'6", 205 is just not right. That makes no sense to me. That guy was huge. But maybe, as Rockio said, he's just one of those guys who's made of titanium, because he was incredible. Fouls were 19-14, again, because refs are human beings and can't call the game. 30-14. I thought they called it really tight both ways to start the game, but it got looser as it progressed, and it seemed like they just kind of got comfortable with what LaSalle was trying to do, which was frustrating. Frustrating experience for a SLU fan, unfortunately. But SLU only had 3 more free throw attempts than LaSalle. And Zach, I thought it's that defense we play, right? Like we force teams into their worst shooting performances. LaSalle 32.8% from the field, terrible. 17.6% from 3, horrible. They're just not a good shooting team. SLU forces teams to be less efficient, and that's what you see.
When you do it every night, it ceases to be the other team shooting poorly and your defense being the difference. The Billikens were out rebounded 39-34, and they grabbed 15 rebounds, offensive rebounds, to just 4 for the Billikens. That's the one first half issue that really the Billikens failed to correct.
Yeah, that's right. It just didn't get better the way that everything else did. Their physicality and effort on the glass, I thought, were just greater. LaSalle also got, I think, more lucky bounces, but then that tends to happen when you're outworking the other team on the boards. And like I theorized earlier, they're just not good shooters, so maybe they're a little more prepared to go grab those. And yet, Zach, second chance points were 5-5. So, like you just said before, as bad as they can be, SLU, this is grabbing defensive rebounds, they rarely give up easy looks. And that's one area where they're really consistent. SLU's depth is always a problem for other teams. 30-7 in bench points in this one, 22-6 on fast break points. So got it done.
Yeah, that the winning streak has extended now to 17, too shy of the record of 19 set in 2014. It is the third longest in D1 right now, but behind the 2 undefeated teams, Arizona and Miami of Ohio. The Chaffetz Arena winning streak is at 18, going back to last season and extending the previous record. Overall record of 23-1 extends the program's best start to a season. The 11-0 A10 start is 1 win shy of the 12-0 start set in 2014. They can tie that at Loyola this week and take it with a win at Rhode Island next Tuesday. Pete, you had some questions.
Yeah, I did, Zach, because I was seeing some grumbling on Twitter. Okay, LaSalle has a fan, Gumby, right? Who is
a interesting character.
He's like a booster or something of LaSalle. Yeah. He's always in the front row in those games at Glazer Arena. And I believe he or the fans around him behind LaSalle's bench had a big sign.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure it said Billiken ? Bill I can't, which is like, okay. Merits of the cleverness of the sign aside.
Yeah.
It seems like they got rid of it, Zach.
Yeah, they took it and ripped it up.
That's kind of crazy, right?
I believe the explanation was that it's written on like tickets and like disclaimers that there's only certain size signs allowed. Okay. And I get it, you have to ban everything, right? But like I said earlier, that it feels like when you put a damper on something like something good and clean and fun like that, it just feels like bad juju, and it's taken away from what's going on the floor and just kind of adds unnecessary vibes to the arena. So like, I get it, but it sucks, whatever. I wouldn't have, but again, I'm not responsible for 10,600 people.
I think I probably would have just asked them to kind of roll it up or whatever.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have taken it. I did, however, uh, I wouldn't have taken the sign. Like, I just tell them to roll it up. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did. I want to say they unfurled it a couple times, maybe. And at that point,
Yeah, I from the
um,
broadcast, I don't know.
but I met up with two, with our two favorite only fans,
Yeah.
Rich and Dennis. Um, got to meet the president of LaSalle.
Oh,
Got to
nice.
meet Gumby. President of LaSalle, I think, was wearing a fedora, like almost like he rocked it for some reason. I don't know how he
So
pulled it off.
did you listen to the interview that they did with the president, that Rich and
No,
Dennis? Because unlike us, they actually are able
yeah,
to get a sit down. They had like a it was in an auditorium. They had like a sit down with the president where they did like a half hour interview for their podcast, which I listened to last week, and it was great. I was just really interested to hear how they did, like what their approach was and everything. But anyway, the president of LaSalle said that there's this hat maker who went to LaSalle. He's like a really famous hat
yeah,
haberdasher, I guess might be the word,
yeah.
on the East Coast. He makes these hats, and he has given some to the president of LaSalle. And I think he even so at the very end of the episode, the president of LaSalle gave as a gift to both Rich and Dennis, gave them their own hats made by this guy. And
What?
yeah, I know. That's like I think I had asked them. I was like, it was like the day before they came, but I was like, are we going to see you in the Explorer fedoras,
Explorer.
as they were calling them, Explorer
Fedorable,
fedoras? Yeah, say that 10 times fast. But anyway, so
fedorable Explorer fedoras.
that's where those come from. Is apparently LaSalle's got an alum who makes those.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gumby was trashed.
yeah. You want
Uh,
nothing less out of Gumby.
very drunk. Doing the Gumby voice was a little unsettling. I walked with the boys over to Pappy's, the Gola boys, and then I think they really enjoyed it. And then we went up to campus and walked through campus, and then I was going to give them a ride to their hotel, and then they were all like, which was the Hyatt downtown by the Arch, and then
Yeah.
was it? I think it was Rich mentioned the Rawlings experience,
Hmm.
and then I was like, oh, that I can take. That's on my way home. And he's like, no, wait, no, do you want to take us to the hotel, and then we can just Uber from there to the Rawlings? I go, dude, it's on my way home.
Yeah.
I'll go. I ended up just going, and we ended up hitting. They have a little hitting cage in there. You can demo bats.
So it
Pretty
was still
sweet.
open. Like
Yeah,
how late is okay? I
it was
haven't been
open
there
till
yet.
9. It's open till 9,
Oh wow. Okay.
which is again surprising to me. But yeah, Rich ended up
So
getting a shirt, so that was
yeah.
sick. Yeah, he got
So
a
so what
hoodie.
what all do they have there? Like
They have a bunch of just like kind of memorabilia, and you can customize your own gloves.
hmm.
You can, I mean, like legitimately down to like you can. They have the leather, the tie, the whatever it is, the string, like
Okay. Yeah.
hanging, like all different colors, and you can add flags and add symbols and characters, and put your name on it. You can customize wooden bats, like they have like they do stuff for groomsmen, like or
Oh
birthday or
cool.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was a good time, and then we parted ways after that, and never to be seen again. um but no, it was fun. And I think we need to make the return trip. I'm begging the A10 to put us at LaSalle next year.
Yeah, it would be twice in a row, although this year was a
It
home and
was a
home.
home.
So it could go either way. Yeah,
Come on, come
that's
on,
that's a good point.
because we've been invited.
Yeah.
Um, to they'll show us the Philly
They'll probably put us there on a Tuesday night or something.
one. All right, Billiken fans, to help us preview the Billiken game against Loyola Loyola-Chicago this Friday. We have yet another first-time guest this season. We have Dave Hanley of the Talkin' Blers podcast. We've heard it's very blur. He's a Loyola grad, and has been hosting the podcast for the past 5 years. Dave, thanks for joining us on the Midtown Madness podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be on the show. Big fan of your content, and glad I get to contribute.
Yeah, man. How long have you been? When did you graduate from Loyola, did you get into Loyola before you went there?
So I grew up in the Philadelphia area, and I actually went to I went to a Jesuit high school that most people who go there would end up going to St. Joe's. I wanted to go outside the city, decided Chicago was far enough away from my parents to do that. And so I guess the long answer there is that I never really became a fan of the Ramblers until I set foot on campus. When I visited, I was able to see a game and learned about the 1963 national championship. So yeah, that was when it really sold me. And I graduated in 2017, so I missed all the good years that the younger fans got to see. I have
Perfect
a CBI
timing.
championship. Yeah.
There you go. Perfect
So
timing.
do we. No, we don't.
Yeah,
We have a CBI runner-up.
I managed to miss NCAA tournaments completely, so yeah, I get it. But so I thought a lot about how to sort of ease into this, right? Because I think anyone who knows anything about Loyola this season knows that this could be a fraught conversation if we wanted to. But I think we really just have to kind of cut right to the chase. It's been a bit of a disaster this season for Loyola, and I think most of us thought they'd actually be like a top third A10 team. I was looking at them at like number 5 or so. What happened? Is it like one big thing or a lot of little things?
So I think that it's been different things, and I think that the big this is going to sound weird. The big thing has shifted from at the beginning of the season. We weren't fully healthy because Xavier Amos wasn't there, but Xavier Amos shouldn't be needed to win against Mercyhurst or like San Jose State. No offense to those programs; they're obviously great programs, but like Northern Illinois, you're losing bye games,
Yeah.
and I think that at the start of the year, from how I understood it, was that it was a miscommunication between the staff and trying to get their mission, especially on defense, across to the roster. And from last year, you lose Des Watson, you lose Jaden Dawson, you lose Jalen Quinn, either to the portal or graduation. You lose Sheldon Edwards. Those are 4 perimeter defenders that you have relied on for the past 2-3 seasons as a Rambler, and all of them left at the same time. So the perimeter defense this year has been not great.
Oh, no.
And yeah, I know. And you're like the 42% that you're shooting on the year might be the low bar that going into Friday's matchup. But I do think that the defensive system that Drew runs, and we've seen it be successful. He has a tournament appearance the first year, albeit with a lot of holdovers from the Porter Moser era. But the last 2 years, top 4 finishes, including a regular season co-championship with Richmond. He knows how to coach defense. And I think that there was just a disconnect in communication between the staff and the players early on. And then once we started getting good, we had you and us. We both have the shared win over Santa Clara that is propping us up for nothing. But props you guys up as a really good non-conference quad 1 win. But after that Dayton loss at home, where Jamon Bennett hit a last-second runner into Miles Rubin's chest, we've been horribly injured. The only team that's been more injured than us in conference play has been LaSalle, and we played them, and they ran 7 guys out there for a whole game.
I feel like this was a Travis Ford talking point. One year we had one of these years. We're one of the most injured teams. I loved that. That was so great.
Yeah, but I don't think that that doesn't explain the 1-7 start. I'm not here to boil it down to we just got injured. I think that once we started hitting our stride and like, oh, I see how this team could compete. You have the win at Rhode Island, you have the win against Santa Clara, and then the wheels fall off. Amos gets hurt, Justin Moore gets hurt, Kamani's been in and out of the lineup, Cade Dotson gets hurt. You're running Caleb Reese out there, who's a former walk-on. It's just you're losing everyone at the guard position, and your defense reflects it. Yeah.
Where do people kind of lay, or I guess how much blame does Drew Valentine kind of get laid at? I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm asking for like the hardest of hardcore Loyola fans. Like, I guess what's the general vibe about this season and Drew Valentine and his tenure at Loyola?
So I'm going to give my opinion, and then I'll also explain the people on Twitter who wanted him fired like 3 years ago. But, I don't think we're at that state. I will say from my experience, like from my perspective, obviously this is a disaster season. And I will say, though, he is a very young coach. It's not Travis Ford retread higher out of like after Oklahoma State. There were expectations that he was going to be able to bounce back and figure it out and get back to the tournament at SLU. With Drew, it's his first job. He's 34, 35 right now. I think that I believe he has 1 or maybe 2 years after this year on his deal. You let him coach. I think you let him coach for his job next year. He's shown that in his first year in the A-10, he only had 10 wins. Came back the next year, won a regular season title, albeit, you lost to St. Bonaventure in double overtime in the quarterfinal of the A-10 tournament. But I would say that's a pretty successful season in year 3 for a coach. I think that we can. I want to see what he can do out of the portal and how he can rebuild this defense that is his calling card. I can imagine that he is the first person that'll tell you that this defense is not up to his standard and that he is going to go back to his base in the portal and get just guys who can flat out put in all the effort on defense and worry about the offense later.
Kind of giving you a little reprieve from where's Loyola at now? How many years are we in now to Loyola in the A-10?
This is year 4.
Year 4. How are Loyola fans finding the conference? How are, is it an enjoyable experience for them? Are they clamoring for the Missouri Valley? What's going on?
Years like this, they're like, why did we leave the Valley? Some fans with short-term memory. But for me, as an East Coast guy, I definitely have the bias. My entry to college basketball was watching Deontay Christmas and Fran Dunphy.
Oh,
I know. Like, I know the Lavoy Allen was like my hero as a 13-year-old. Yeah, I know. I'm dropping names on you.
See, here's the thing. I dislike Lavoy Allen. Like he killed us because he was this.
It's respect.
Yeah. That's right. Respect.
I remember Lavoy Allen posted a picture on social media in the early days of social media of him in a tanning bed with the tanning goggles on. Does anybody remember that?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome for bringing that up. Just because that's the deepest of cuts. That is the deepest of deep cuts.
Yeah, I think I have a Deontay Christmas bobblehead at my parents' house too. Like that.
So you are A-10, born and bred.
Yes. Like when Temple left the A-10, I was like, this is dumb. But so I'm definitely biased. I love the A-10 as a conference. The fact that Loyola now plays games on the East Coast, as an East Coast person, it's the dream come true that I can go see them on the road. I don't have to travel to Des Moines, Iowa, or Valparaiso, Indiana to go see them, or go to Terre Haute. Like,
right.
The traveling is much better. Yeah.
I want to get back to that 1-7 start, and it's a funny one because that one, the win was the first game, right? It was the Cleveland
Yes.
State game, and I think they've turned out to be a little worse than people thought they would be this season. It was an overtime win. It was a buzzer beater, I believe. And I remember afterwards people being like, oh, thanks, Sister Jean, because she had recently died right before the season started. R.I.P. We all love Sister Jean. But at what point over those next 7 games did you go, oh, we're really in trouble, right? Because maybe you lose one of those and you're disappointed and it's like, oh, come on. But at what point does it go from this isn't just a hiccup, like this team is in real trouble of the season being lost?
So probably the next game, because the next game
Really?
we played was Mercyhurst. And when we lose to Mercyhurst at home after it literally took Daywalk Tavares having 7 points in the last minute of the game to swing that Cleveland State game from a 4-point loss to, I think it ended up being a 3-point win.
That's right.
Yeah. So or maybe a 1-point win. It was
91-88 in overtime.
Okay. Yeah. So he swung that game so that it was a win. We got all the great stories about oh man, Sister Jean won them that game. And then we didn't realize we used it all up in one game. But yeah, that Mercyhurst game, it's one that you definitely should have won. And it was a very experienced team in the NEC. That coach has been there for 20 years. He definitely knows what he's doing. But you still got to beat an NEC team. And if you're not beating an NEC team at home, how are you expecting to win against a North Texas that you lose on a buzzer beater, or, beat Colorado State where you get kind of trounced at home, even though the score only says you lost by 13. It was 26 at the under 4 or something like that. Yeah, it really just from game 2, you're like, oh, this is a long season.
It was that fast, man. So I want to fast forward then to a different point in the season. You beat Santa Clara, which we talked about, to finish the non-conference slate, and then beat Rhode Island to open A10 play. Did you think that maybe the season was going to turn around and you'd have you'd play that ultimate spoiler the rest of the way? Because I think a lot of us did in conference.
I did, yeah, 100%. Once we beat Santa Clara, honestly, this is going to sound weird, but after the San Francisco game, I thought we were going to beat Santa Clara, before we even set foot on the court, because I thought that we played our best, one of our best offensive games against San Francisco, but they just shot the lights out like our opponents do. And I said, if Santa Clara, they just struggled the night before against North Texas, who we barely lost to, they're beatable. And it took Cade Dotson dropping, I think, 26 to beat them, but we still won by 2. It's, probably definitely the best moment of the year so far. Probably what will be the best moment of the year so far. And then turning around and beating a Rhode Island team, even though we had 24 turnovers, which, wow, how does that happen? Mm-hmm. Yeah, never seen a win so sloppy on the offensive end, but regardless. And even after the Dayton loss, I'm like, oh, that's a tough break. You only lose by 2, and it's on a last second shot by, at the time, someone who's, still probably first team all A10 and Javon Bennett. I'm like, oh, we'll be fine. I think we'll be able to find our way to 500. But then you lose Justin Moore, you lose Xavier Amos for that Davidson game, and during that game, you lose Cade Dotson twice, because I think he went out with a calf injury, tried to get back in, and then first play back in, he re-aggravates the calf injury.
I remember that. That was kind of gross, wasn't it?
I thought it was a replay, and I'm like,
yeah.
why is he back out there? And at that point, I knew we were in trouble. And then we lose Alexander Richardson, our backup center.
Jesus, walking wounded.
Yeah,
you got a triage unit set up in Gentile over there.
Well, it was so bad at one point that you couldn't hold a real practice because coaches had to be on the scout team because you just don't have enough bodies to an extent.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then we also lost Chuck Love before the Santa Clara game, one of our better freshmen, which Nick Anderson's looked really great too. But Chuck Love was really promising at the start of the year, he goes down with a knee injury. He still hasn't returned either. And Kamani has the shin splints from last year. I think he had a stress fracture last year, so that's not going away. Like, it's just something he's going to play with. So, yeah, hopefully he'll be back for Friday. He hasn't played the last 3, so, but
Well, one of the guys you didn't mention, a name that I have not heard yet, is Miles Rubin.
yeah,
He is leading the A10 in defensive rebounds and shot blocking. What's he been like this season? Has he risen to the expectations, I guess, of what the bench he set last year?
I would say so. I think that his offensive efficiency numbers have dipped, but his volume has gone way up this year. Both out of, him just improving, but as of conference play, it's out of necessity. Every single play on both ends, he's putting in the effort. He's, worked on his offense. The one thing that is still a work in progress for him, and I think that it might just end up being something that's always going to drag him down a little bit, but it's his free throw shooting. You see that a lot with bigs. Some ones that don't have the touch from outside. Yeah, exactly.
Big hands.
He's got to find a way to talk to Joel Embiid though, because if Joel can hit 80%, he can touch his fingers with a baseball in his hand, then people should be able to shoot free throws. But yeah, Miles, his defensive on a team that's been awful defensively, we are still very good at 2-point percentage because Miles exists on this roster. His block numbers have stayed the same from last year, even though he is a known entity. You know that if you're going in the paint against Loyola, you're going to have to shoot around Miles Rubin. And, he still gets his numbers in blocks. He's getting much more in terms of rebounds. And I've really enjoyed his offensive progression. He's expanding a little bit more out of the paint and working in some of those push shots from outside, not outside, but further away.
So I want to talk about, some of your other personnel. You've got a pretty balanced attack, if you want to call it that, with 3 guys averaging about 11 a game. You've got 2 more 9 to 10 points a game. But in crunch time, who do you want the ball? Whose hands do you want the ball in? You know what I mean? Who's gonna go get you that bucket when you need it?
That's a tough question. But I will say pre-injuries, it was Justin Moore. If he can get back to that, he's still coming off the ACL injury, and then he re-aggravated his knee against Dayton. So he's still trying to figure out his footing a little bit more, gain that confidence. So I would say Justin Moore. I'll still say it because if he's playing more, then he's feeling a lot. I have to assume he's feeling better. So he's the reason why we won that game at Rhode Island. He was the one who hit clutch free throws at the end of the game, hit some really good mid-range shots, won us that game against Rhode Island to hold on and win by 4. So I would say, handing the ball in the hand of your point guard.
So this game is on Friday the 13th.
Yes.
I mean, is Loyola's best chance in this game for some supernatural shit, like the 6th man, except without Travis Ford in it?
I don't know if you've been watching any of the Olympics, but I believe the Finland women's hockey team couldn't play their first game because they were all sick. I don't want to be that bleak, but I think if there's an illness going around the Billiken locker room, I think that's how we have our best shot.
Funny you mention it.
I know Robbie played sick recently. Yeah,
I mean, but that's something that's funny because that illness has been legitimately going person by person through the locker room for the entire season, which is another story that I don't think Pete and I have really talked about. Is that this team at many times has been one guy short on the roster, which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
But so if something supernatural happens, right? And who is the guy that's going to get the aliens talent? I don't know, whatever, something Space Jammy.
Yeah. who becomes the Monstar to
Yes.
beat the Billikens.
Yes. Who's the unassuming guy?
The unassuming guy. So I think the player who would need to have an like out of body experience in this game to really win would probably be either Josh Ola Joseph or Xavier Amos, where either they're completely dead eye from three, or they're cleaning up the misses on the interior, because both of them can rebound on the offensive glass pretty well and love to put it back or get to the line. So I think that since we're a team that shoots, I think in conference play around 31% from three, and you as a team are allowing opponents to shoot like 28% on the year, there are going to be a lot of misses, and it's going to be really important for those two guys in particular to crash the offensive glass and make sure that you're extending the possessions and putting the Billikens in foul trouble, because I mean, you're a team that has 8 players that score 8 points or more. You have insane depth. The only way to be able to attack depth is to put them on the bench and make it so that it's a math problem for Josh Shirts on who can play. Like, or are you risking a third foul in the first half and stuff like that? So I would say those two guys need to be Monstars and take Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing. The second one doesn't count. The first one is the real Space Jam. So yeah.
Yeah.
So then what's your prediction for this game? I mean, dare we even ask?
You did get really bleak there, talking about what it would take, like the miracle that it would take for this. I mean, in your words, I don't want to come across that way. I can't
No,
be that.
yeah, no, I get it.
I can't be that like dickish.
No,
Yeah.
it's hard to, when your team has 6 wins and it's going to be the teens of February, it's tough to really have sustained optimism about your chances in games, especially when you're facing a team that, for all intents and purposes, could be undefeated right now. Shout out to Stanford for hitting a crazy shot. They've done it like 3 times this year, hitting weird buzzer beaters to win games. So at least the loss looks good, but I digress very heavily there. I think Loyola can cover. I know that doesn't sound like a lot. If the line is I think the line will probably be at like 19.5 or something like that. I think Loyola can keep it to.
That's crazy to me.
And you're going to be on the road. I think that Loyola will definitely give you a really good first half. I think that it'll be a close first half, like what LaSalle was able to do to you guys this past weekend. I think we can muster that, but it's going to be really difficult to keep it going for a second half, especially if 1, 2, or 3 Billikens start dialing it in from deep. We're just not going to be able to chase everyone around on the perimeter the whole time.
Who scares you the most on our team? I'm curious.
I don't know how much time you have for this interview, but no,
No, I meant like who
Yeah.
the most, like who's the one guy you're like, oh shit.
I'm not going to say Robbie, because
Yeah, we've
seen him and Miles
You know
already.
ball.
Like Trey Green is someone who I've been fascinated by this year. Sheerly just because of his percentage from deep. I think, is he still like just under 50% from 3 this year, or has he eclipsed it?
I think he's at about 47.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and if you look at KenPom, they filter out the like non D1 games. So I think in D1 opponents, he's at like 49%.
47.1 is where he is right now. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so
And add volume.
yes, exactly. He's like what Rambler fans were hoping Daewalk Tavares could be after his 40+% year at College of Charleston, but hasn't been able to replicate that in the A10 this year so far. But I would say Trey Green. Also, Amari McCautry, I have to say, has been the best sophomore jump I've seen in the A10 in a while. Just his growth defensively, especially, has been something that, he's definitely, I think he's, whenever 3-Bit League puts out their media poll, he'll probably be my defensive player of the year, much to the chagrin of Miles Rubin, who will still be off defensive team, most likely. But
Wow.
just all around, I've really, you gotta, you gotta pick the best defender on the best defensive team in the conference, right? Like, he's well above anyone else in this conference on all around defense.
That's cool to hear because normally it just get that's an award that just goes to either the guy with the most steals or the most blocks, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year kind of opened the door for that when, it was either Miles Rubin or Billups on Mason. I forget who won it last year. Off the bench from George Mason. Back, I hate that I forget his name because it was a point of contention. Because we thought Miles, was, deserved to be in the conversation for defensive player of the year in the conference last year. And, I think that you can't really put Miles as DPOY when your team is 2-10 in conference. The math doesn't work.
Yeah, Jared Billups was.
It was Jared Billups.
Yeah.
I have to mention a quick story that I don't think I've actually acknowledged on this show. So my aunt, God rest her soul, was fixated on Sister Jean in Loyola during that NCAA run. And she bought me, not only did she buy me a Final Four t-shirt with Loyola's like logo on it, she bought me the Sister Jean Rock'em socks. So
That's
I
awesome.
have a pair of Sister Jean socks on my person. I need to. I'm just coming clean right now.
Well,
did not know that.
if Loyola wins, you have to
I
post.
have to wear them.
You have to wear them. And
Shoot,
post a
actually,
picture.
you know what? Now that I mention it, actually, I think so Rock'em socks actually stink, and on the ball of the ankle, it just got a huge hole in it. So I ended up throwing them away. I don't know if that's sacrilegious, but I'll wear them.
Well, because
I'll
Sister
wear
Jean's on them, it is.
Yes, I'll wear. Or is it sacrilegious to put Sister Jean on them? I don't know. I'll wear the Loyola shirt. I'll wear the Loyola shirt if Loyola wins.
I think that's fair.
To the SLU Loyola game at Chaffetz.
That's perfect.
I love it.
So for SLU fans who are traveling to this game, where do you recommend going for food and drinks around that kind of Edgewater, Rogers Park area? I lived in Chicago a few years and I was almost never up there, so I don't know it that well.
So it's probably changed a lot since I've been there. I will say I think the last time I was there might have been a couple years ago, right before my wedding. I got married in Chicago because my wife and I met at Loyola. But anyway.
Aww.
Yeah, I know.
Aww.
Yeah. But I think it's still there. There's a burger place called Bop and Grill that was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. So Guy Fieri has his signature on the wall there. It's like Korean burger fusion. So they'll put like kimchi on a burger. But they do a really good burger. And I don't know if they still make the cheesesteak egg rolls, but they're very good. Even as a guy from Philly saying that, like, they have really good food. I really enjoyed Bop and Grill. It's right next to the Chipotle near campus. So if you're looking for a good bite to eat prior to trying to wait in line at the concessions at Gentile Arena,
I heard that's a nightmare.
Chipotle.
So then, what's a good pre or post game bar? I confirmed, by the way, Bop and Grill is still open. But how about for a post game beverage or two?
Post game beverage, I believe there's a bar I forget the name of it because it's changed names. Back when I was there, it was called Bar 63. But there's a bar that's like right across from the Popeyes on Sheridan, or I guess that south of that intersection, Broadway. That's right. The closest bar. What's it called now? I guess is the.
I found Popeyes, but now I got to find the name of this bar.
It's changed names too many times. I think it might be like a barbecue place now. From what I last remember,
it's right across from Popeyes.
It should be, or that's at least where the bar was. Anyway,
okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna need it. I hope it does not snow again. Like that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Getting out of the arena and everything like in the snow was awful. And then I've never seen a city clear snow the way Chicago did. It was gone the next morning. Gone.
Oh yeah.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. That we have nothing like that.
Yeah. Just this like a few weeks ago, it snowed like 9 inches in Baltimore, and it's still out here. They don't know what to do with it. The Midwest can handle their snow. I got to give it to them.
We had the northern Midwest.
Yeah,
down here in Cincinnati, it's not so good.
No.
Yeah, I mean it's all those hills that just rolls back down when you try to put it on.
That's right.
Where
can our listeners find your work and follow you on social media?
So you can follow us. It's a little confusing, but we're at Blers talking because Talking Blers was taken.
Some people love talking about the Blers.
Great question on how it was taken. I wish I could meet the person who took it. But anyway, you can find us on Twitter. Not going to call it the other thing. At Blers Talking. We have our podcast is on anywhere you can find it, mostly on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We love talking A10 basketball. We love talking about the Ramblers a little bit more. As the season's been bad, we've been discussing the men's volleyball team a little bit more because during my time at Loyola, we won back-to-back national championships in men's volleyball.
Yeah.
So that's like,
they were at Lindenwood recently.
They're good.
Yeah, we lost at Lindenwood, but then we won at McKendree. So like, both of them were ranked. I'll take it as a wash week.
I'll root for the Loyola men's volleyball. Screw it.
Sure, why not? Yeah,
let's go.
I mean, yeah, they every year they have a chance at winning a national title. So
yeah,
it's the best.
What conference are they in?
The MIVA.
The MIVA, of course.
Yeah, I know. It's a volleyball specific conference that includes the likes of like Lewis University, McKendree, Lindenwood, Ohio State. It's a whole like smattering of random teams because the Big Ten doesn't have it. Most of the smaller
doesn't have men's volleyball. That's
no.
Well,
I guess
Penn
State might be in the MIVA too.
Yeah,
it's football.
Yeah.
We've also been discussing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. We've also been discussing the women's basketball team on their current 6-game win streak.
Yeah, I was just going to say they're kind of hot. They've been outperforming expectations.
You can't say that on the show. You can't say that on the show about a women's basketball team, Pete.
I think people know what I meant, Zach.
I think that's a bonk, but no.
Unreal.
No.
You guys are doing me dirty here.
No, Coach Guth has the Ramblers really rolling right now. Winners of 8 of their last 9. They're sitting in 4th place in the conference, a half game above Davidson, who they don't play anymore. But Davidson took that game. We do have to play George Mason one more time, and we do have to play SLU again. So,
I think you're done with SLU. I think.
Really?
We lost twice already to you guys.
Nice. Well, take that. Because you'll get the men's games. No, but at least we'll go 2-2 for basketball. We'll split basketball this year. But
that's not how we're choosing to look at it at all.
Let me have this. Let me cope.
Okay, fair enough. Dave, hey man, can't thank you enough for joining. It's been a blast. If you're ever down here in St. Louis, you can just ask the Gola boys. We'll direct you in the right places.
Oh yeah, please do. I do. Every time I visit St. Louis, I have to get myself some gooey butter cake and some toasted ravioli. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Emo's Pizza. It's definitely an acquired taste.
It is Papa John's. Like that is what we're talking about. That is what everybody's getting so upset about. Papa John's.
That
Like
he-
it's
put that in
like-
context. It's a big chain, is what you're
Oh,
saying.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Zach
Yeah.
is saying the real gems are the one-off St. Louis style pizza
Yes.
places.
The
But I
old
will-
Italian families in like North County.
But if we can get gooey butter cake and toasted ravs, I'm going to call that a win. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a win. That's
always
a win.
Always a win. Yeah.
All
But
right.
thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this, and I hope it's at least a good game on Friday.
I hope both
Sure.
teams have fun. I'm there for. I'm gonna watch for the halftime show.
I'm gonna be there with my A10 hat. Like,
Are we get? Who are we
Rothwell.
getting?
Like,
Is there gonna be? Yes. Are we getting a halftime show at Loyola? I think there was the dog last year or whatever. I don't know.
well,
like
we
one
usually
year
get a
they had a
Pop Tart
dog.
now, but I think they're saying no. We're not
Oh.
worth a Wildberry visit this year. So
Wait, that's a thing. Like, why? What do we need? Wildberry.
our PA announcer works the Pop Tart Bowl,
Oh, that's legit.
so that's our connection. That's
Okay.
why the Pop Tart shows up for Loyola sometimes, and we have to be good for it to for the favor to get called in. But yeah.
Sister Jean had. It's clearly the absence of Sister Jean.
Oh, I think the background on my Twitter profile for Talking Blurs is Sister Jean fist bumping the Pop Tart. So
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's the kind of crossover we love to see. Dave, yeah, we'll talk soon, man. Thank you.
yeah. Thanks for
thanks,
having me.
Dave.
See ya. Pete, let's kick it around the A10 with our good friends over at Two Men in a Garden.
Yeah, let's do it, Zach. And for this week's ad read, I want you to think about your Super Bowl party that you just attended, even if it was one you hosted. No matter what you did for the Super Bowl, think about how many dips there are on the table, spreads, whatever, anything you can put a chip into. It's at a Super Bowl party, and think back to what salsa they put out. If it was subpar, because I've been to plenty of Super Bowl parties where you're talking like paste picante and stuff like that. It's just there. It's fine. It's whatever. You don't want a dry, boring chip, so you use it. But if you think you can do better, I think you can. Head over to twomeningarden.com. Use the offer code MMP for free shipping. Try their salsas out. I guarantee you'll like it better than whatever store-bought, run-of-the-mill, mass-produced salsa there is that you tried at the Super Bowl party recently. Again, twomeningarden.com. Tell them we sent you. MMP, free shipping. You're not going to be disappointed.
Bad Bunny. I don't know. I just wanted to say Bad Bunny. Yeah, Tuesday the 3rd, Pete. Dayton takes down Bonaventure 72-70. Dayton, wait for it, blew a lead to let the Bonnies have a chance. When have we seen that before? They missed a 3 at the buzzer that would have won it. That was in overtime, wasn't it?
Nah, I think that one was
Oh,
regulation.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. VCU 63, Fordham 59. VCU is playing with fire up
Yeah.
there in the Bronx. Loyola picks up a win 71-61 against LaSalle. Wednesday the 4th, St. Joe's 76, GW 73. The Hawks, technically the higher team in the standings, but still surprising to see GW fall like this. Castro out for the second straight game, and it seems like no Castro, no fun in
Yep.
Foggy Bottom. Duquesne 71, George Mason 65. Mason won a lot of really close games. They were the biggest fire players, so to speak, of the last month or so. This was bound to happen at some point in my mind. To say the line, they're frauds. Duquesne went on a 10-0 run to close it out in the last 2:30. I mean, Mason had this one.
They did. They really choked this one. But you said VCU was playing with fire, you said VCU was playing with fire. The way that they've kind of let Fordham get too close and teams like that. But Mason, it was really like they've won a lot of games, but by very narrow margins, right? Like 5, 6, 7 is typically what they're winning a game by. They're not blowing teams out. So this was bound to happen at some point. On Friday the 6th, Davidson 84, Loyola 64. Not a big surprise there, what we know about those teams. And then VCU 99, Dayton 73. It got out of hand early. It was never in doubt. It felt a lot like our win over Dayton pretty recently. So even though
it's magical to watch these Dayton fans travel and get just shit rocked.
It really is. Even though Mason has been above VCU for most of the season in the standings, I really do think VCU is that number 2 team. Saturday the 7th, Bonaventure 70, Fordham 67, Rhode Island 82, Richmond 77, Duquesne 88, George Washington 86. Castro was out again. They appear to be utterly helpless without him. GW is also the worst team in the conference in late game situations. It's wild to see. This time, Trey Autry missed a great look from 3 that would have won it. He had hit a couple shots leading up to that point, but so they had chances to wrap it up sooner and just didn't. What a skid for them. But again, we see how dangerous they are when they have Castro in the lineup. George Mason 60, St. Joe's 52, right there. That's a pretty typical George Mason game. Low scoring, pretty close. But Zach, with Mason losing, SLU's got a little bit of a cushion atop the standings now.
Yeah, the Billikens are sitting at the top, 11-0. Unbelievable season so far. Mason and VCU are sitting at 9-2. St. Joe's 7-4, Dayton 6-5, Duquesne 6-5, Davidson 6-5, Rhode Island 5-5, GW 4-7, LaSalle, Fordham, and Richmond in reverse. Well, actually, sorry, Richmond, Fordham, LaSalle, and Bonaventure all at 3-8, and then Loyola bringing up the rear. The Billikens' next opponent 2-10. Pete, let's move over to the women's side of things here. This week went pretty much as expected for the Billikens. 2 best teams in the league. This is going to be a downer week. This was going to be a bad week.
Richmond's offense is efficient. They can keep up with anyone that way. Rhodey's defense is among the best in the nation. They rebound really well too. So these are the 2 best teams in the league as far as I'm concerned. Coming into this week, Mason was up there with these 2 in terms of the record. But then Richmond put got a pretty good win over them to kind of dispel any notion of Mason being a top 3 team. I think they're at least number 3. So in this first game, Zach, 92-44 was the loss at home against Richmond on Wednesday the 4th. Look, I say this week went as expected, but I think this may have been a little worse. You don't think you're going to lose by 48 at home?
I just don't think you can lose by 30 or more to an A10 opponent if you're SLU with the funding you have.
No, but even if they are, this Richmond team has a lot of players back from the team that won the league last year and then went, I think, as an 8 or a 9 seed. The won a first round game and then took a 1 seed. You gave a 1 seed quite a challenge in the second round. So they're a really good program, and they're going to have the A10 Player of the Year. So much respect to them, but you can't lose by 48 at home. They shot 52% from the floor, 50% from 3 on their way to a season high 92 points. Meanwhile, SLU shot 25% overall and 22% from 3. And that's only because Mia Bergstrom hit a few threes in the fourth quarter after she just started chucking. She led SLU with 14 points. Again, most of those in the fourth. Alyssa Kirkenmeyer won her 4th A10 Rookie of the Week award on Monday. She had a game-high 14 rebounds. Tillett, her post-game quote was, "Bottom line, we didn't play anything like we played recently. I thought we only had one answer-back moment as a group, but other than that, we didn't have any toughness or collective response." And unfortunately, Zach, the response at Rhode Island on Sunday wasn't much better.
No, it wasn't. 74-43 loss at Rhode Island on Sunday the 8th. After that Richmond game, we said they might not score 44 against a defense like Rhode Island, and unfortunately, that was correct. Billikens started 10-2, but it was all Rhode Island after that. The Rams scored 31 in the fourth quarter. Billiken shot 26% from the field, 25% from three, and 61% from the line. Zion Nugent had 13 and 9. Kirkenmeyer had 8 and 12. Rhodey had 4 in double digits, but their leading scorer and former Billiken, Brooklyn Gray, wasn't one of them. She was held to just 2 points, as clearly the Billikens were not going to let her be the one to beat them. Not
No,
after what was it? Ashley Connors put up on a performance.
Career high.
Yep, that's now 5 straight L's for the Bills. Next up will be Fordham on Wednesday the 11th, Pete.
Yeah, Fordham's lost 6 straight. They're second from last in the A10 at 1-2. Sorry, that should be I think 1-12, and 9-15 overall. So the first of those 6 losses came at home to SLU in overtime on January 21st, and they haven't won since. Alexis Black is the leading scorer. She's healthy again. She missed 6 games with injury this season, but they're a poor shooting team that really struggles to score, even with her back. And then at Dayton, Zach, is where they'll be on Saturday the 14th for the Valentine's Day game. This is SLU's second meeting with Dayton this season, having won 62-58 at home on January 18th when they were playing a little bit better basketball than they are now. Dayton is 6-7 in A10 play. They're 13-11 overall. They're coming off a 2-0 week in Philadelphia after wins at LaSalle and St. Joe's, but they're pretty mid. You know, if you win the rebounding battle, which most teams don't against them, but SLU did last time, you have a chance to win. Another area of opportunity, I would say, is turnover margin. They cough it up a lot, and they don't really force many. So you just got to slop it up in this one and beat them on the glass. But 2 chances to win this week, Zach. It's time to right the ship and turn the season around.
I hope. Softball. The Bills were picked to finish 3rd in the A10 preseason poll behind Fordham and Dayton. The La Jolla Invitational at UC San Diego start off with an 11-9 win against Montana on Thursday the 5th. Abby Mello hit a 2-run homer in her first at bat of the season. 9-0 loss against Montana on Friday the 6th. We'll move on from that. That didn't happen. 11-3 loss against UCSD on Friday the 6th. Mallow mashed again in the first. A solo mash. Mallow. 5-3 win against Wagner on Saturday the 7th. Ulsis was the star of this one. 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. And then finished with a 3-0 loss against UCSD Saturday the 7th. Ulsis ruined a no-hitter with 2 outs left in the 7th when she singled to left. Other than that, not so great. Pete, track and field. Baseball starts this weekend with a 3-game series against Ohio State and Pensacola. And finally, track and field, Pete.
Yeah, they were at the Missouri Invitational in Columbia, which is pretty much the only place they seem to run. On Friday the 6th, Star Scott finished 3rd in the 800 meters with a time of 2:12:22, setting a new school record, breaking the previous record of 2:12:94 held by Emma Kidd. Yeah, so congrats to her. That's really cool. Becky Phillips had a new PR in the 400, 56:59, which was 3rd overall, 5th best time in the A10 this season. Sophia Pellegrin's 4:51:12 was good for 2nd in the mile. Sam Lamaze won the 400 with a time of 47:34 and was named the men's track performer of the week in the A10 for it. Ronnie Brown won the 3,000 meters at 8:19 even. And Chase Petre was the runner-up in the 800 at 1:52:17. So a nice showing overall at Mizzou. Next up is the ISU Open in Terre Haute, Indiana, on Saturday the 21st, and they are getting close to the end of the indoor season, Zach.
That's gonna do it for us. It's kind of a short episode, kind of.
Yeah, we're right at about 2 hours here.
Yeah. Again, thank you to Dave from Talking Blers for joining the show. It was awesome. And we will talk to you all next week. Roll Bills.
Roll Bills.